the story about the Beauty and the Beast, or how translating a love story can become a brain killer. If you think that mastering English makes a person wiser, stronger, wealthier, or happier, relax, you are wrong. A language is but a language. So of course you may use it as a tool to achieve your goals or just to make fun. This is my favorite activity. So I will share some personal experience in that way. Once upon a time I was working for a translation agency, and there I was supposed to make translation of legal texts. Lawyers, you do understand me that this is no fun. So, once our agency got a tremendous flow of documents about drugs certification. Not bad drugs, but still. And that was absolutely no fun at all, if not to say dead boring. No need to say I was very, very, very unhappy. And as an American would say in my place, I prayed to God, God, let me translate some text that makes sense. And as an American would say, God is great, God loves me, and he sent me not a piece of cheese, but an email. That was definitely not an email from God, but that was an email from my friend, who is a really talented literary translator. And the email said, well, Irina, I'm overloaded for the moment, and they proposed me to translate a love story. It shouldn't be too indecent, and the heroes, they live in Venice. So, of course, I said, let me translate this book, I'll do my best. By that time, I couldn't even pretend to guess that the only sense that could make this book was the sense of humor. But I should say it was really fun. One of my beloved English teachers, he used to say, have fun, guys. And he was always sure that each of us has a personal, very personal vocabulary quiz. Anyway, as you remember, the verb have is not just an auxiliary verb. You may have drunk vodka. You may have your breakfast. By the way, doesn't it occur to you that the Russian verb хавать derives from here? I think that's possible. You may have noodles, or you may have fun, which is my favorite activity, and Douglas, he was a great teacher, and I hope he still is. So, by the time I realized that the book I am to translate has nothing to do with the literature we studied at the university, or with any literature at all, it was too late. The contract had already been signed. And I had no choice. I had to man up and to get through that waste paper. I mean, to translate that masterpiece of pulp fiction. So, being optimist by nature, I said, wow, I do have a brain. But soon I realized that to get through it, I don't need one at all. I have to put it aside. And I even tried to become a blonde, though I didn't succeed. So the only choice I had was to have fun. So let me share with you some thrilling, foolish moments of that book. Episode 1. Newlywed couple, an English duchess and an earl, they're riding camels in the middle of the desert. So unfortunately I didn't keep the original, so I'll try to do my best to follow the spirit and the letter. So a new married English couple is riding camels in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the day. So all of a sudden, they decided to make pause. So they dismount their camels. Immediately they found some camel dung and set a fire. And a minute later, above a peacefully crackling camel dung fire, there was placed a silver teapot. Do you really think it's practical to carry with you a silver teapot when you're traveling across the desert? It's the most necessary thing that you need there. So I personally imagined that a teapot got melted and the English tea put out the fire of camel dung. What a triumph of Western civilization about the Eastern one. Sometimes I'm evil. So, but that was not all. The red-haired duchess, sitting on the hot sand just near the fire, and she was looking at the boiling teapot, and the only thing she was thinking about was hot soup. Now comes episode 2. After a long trip across the desert, the couple arrives to a highly civilized tribe dwelling in some distant oasis, far away in Sahara. And the husband plans to leave his wife there with his friends to go and find the treasure himself. Well, actually he loves and cherishes his wife, and he wants to spare her from the dangers of the trip across the desert. But the wife, she was not the one to give up. And she said, I won't be there by your side to support you. And it occurs to her that to survive in the desert, it is an absolute must to know how to milk a camel. Because if you don't have any food or water left, you may still survive by drinking camel's milk. So she comes to her husband and says, oh, please teach me to milk a camel. No way, he said. You're going to stay here. Okay, she said, I'll do it on my own. So she gets up early in the morning, finds herself a wooden bucket, and comes to the oasis edge where the camels graze. And she realizes that she does not have any idea of how to distinguish a male camel from a female. Absolutely no idea. And then comes one of the tribesmen who just enjoyed making fun on everyone. And he was also the great friend of her husband. So she asks him, hey, what's the milk camel here? He considered all the camels very seriously and said, try that one. No need to say that this was a he camel. And the good tribesman, he camel, the good tribesman disappears to summon everyone so they do not miss the show. I'm not the only one who loves to make fun. Okay, so the lady hears their laughter behind her back, but she's resolute to learn how to milk a camel, even if this is a he camel. So she approaches her victim and, quotation marks, she examines its undercarriage. I didn't believe my eyes, I checked with the dictionary. And it said that undercarriage means chassis. Well, it is clear that she looked under the poor animal's belly, but what on earth would a camel do with a chassis? So I don't know why did the author use such words. So unabashed, the lady extends her hand to milk the poor animal. But luckily for them both, her husband arrives. And he asks, don't you see anything confusing about this animal? Then the lady replies, no, I just meant to learn how to milk a camel. No harm. But this is he camel, he said. I see, she says. Nothing in common with the cow. just remind you that our lady was an English duchess, and I just imagined that every morning she used to come and milk her cow. It was fabulous. Well, of course, I may sound one more episode. Our heroes arrive to the treasure cavern, and that was just a hole in earth in the middle of the desert. And the stalactites and stalagmites there, I was not surprised to learn that these are nothing but icicles. Of course, they're not going to melt under the hot boiling sand. So, I may sound a bit too ironical or too omniscient, but to tell you the truth, I'm not a literary critic. And I had very much fun translating that book. Besides, it was a challenge for me to understand that, yes, I can do it. But still, I would not recommend you to waste your time on such literature. And what I would recommend is the book translated by that friend of mine. This is a really great story. It was written by an American author, Tom Wolfe. And in English it is called A Man and Fool. In Russian it is called this way, Мужчина в полный рост. And I really hope you are going to enjoy it as well as I did. And to be frank, I envy you because you have this wonderful story to discover. That's it.